o'clock. I will go ahead and call the regular meeting of the Planning, Programming, and Zoning Commission to order. It's December 1st. I'm Virginia Wilburn, the Commissioner Chair, and I'm going to delegate, well, I guess I'll wait and delegate authority if anybody actually shows up in the council chambers. Otherwise, we'll go ahead with, do I have a motion to approve the amended December 1st agenda that went out today? Did everyone receive it?
Yes.
So moved.
Light sticker will second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, we'll go on to approval of the minutes for the regular meeting on November 10th. Any discussion, questions, revisions?
Move we accept them as presented.
I'll second that, Tricia.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, next we'll have the financial report for October 2020.
Okay, this is Schrader with staff. I did not know I was going to be running this, so I have not had a chance to review them. This would be the October report through 10/31. Just briefly looking down through on the revenue side. Looks pretty good. Miscellaneous revenue is low, but that's kind of a catch-all anyway. On the expense side, I don't see anything that stands out as exceptionally high. Any questions?
None here?
Okay, do we have a motion to receive and place the financial report on file?
So moved, Trost.
Second by Schilberg.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Eric, did you see anybody in the council chambers when you popped in?
There was not at that time.
Hi, Virginia and Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Hello, Eric. Eric's on. John, can you hear me in the chambers?
Yeah, there's nobody here, just little me.
I think he said there's no one there.
Okay.
Is there anyone on the phone who is present to speak on a non-agenda item? Okay. We will go on to new business then. The first item of new business is a request by Steve Trowski for a special permit to allow for a multi-two-family member home on 2 lots in the R2, 1, and 2 family residence districts located north and east of 603 South Hackett Road.
Virginia, if you just want to go ahead and read the.
And will there be a combined staff report for this item and then the plat for the Gardner edition?
That should work.
It's the same address. Mm-hmm.
So if possible, if we can get the staff report for both those items, please.
Just Dornoff with staff. I'm actually going to read the plat first and then do the special permit. Make it easier to understand.
And
the area in question is the zoned R2, 1 and 2 family residence district. Since the adoption of the zoning ordinance in 1969, surrounding land uses and their zoning designation are as follows. To the north is residential zoned R2, 1 and 2 family residence district. To the south is vacant land, residential on the Blackhawk County YMCA zoned R2 CZ, 1 and 2 family residence conditional zoning district. an R4 multiple residence district, R4CZ multiple residence conditional zoning district, and C2 commercial district. To the east is Green Hill Road, Ascension Lutheran Church, and residential zoned R2, 1 and 2 family residence district. To the west is Hackett Road, and residential zoned R1, 1 and 2 family residence district. The surrounding area consists of single-family residences built between 1941 and 1979, and Salvation Army Women's Emergency Facility built in 1996, and the YMCA built in 1982. Gardner Addition is a 2-lot subdivision with 1 lot being 1.35 acres and lot 2 being 1.71 acres. Tract A is 0.88 acres and designated as for Virgin Drive. Tract B, C, and D are 0.23 acres, 0.15 acres, and 0.30 acres, respectively, and are reserved for stormwater management. There are no changes from the original adopted preliminary plat. The plat was originally referred to as Shirk Addition. However, a conflict with the existing plat was discovered, and thus the name changed to Gardner Addition. Because there's multiple 1 and 2 family all 2 family homes plan to be built on a single lot in the R2 1 and 2 family residence district, a special permit will be required. The final plan includes legal description, property lines, dimensions, building lines, dimensions, date, adjoining subdivisions, engineer certificate survey, easements, right-of-way lists, and proper line sequence. A deed of dedication will need to be submitted. Therefore, staff recommends that the final plat for Gardner Addition be approved for the following reasons. The plat would have no negative impact on the surrounding area. The plat would not have a negative impact on traffic conditions in the area. And the plat will create additional infill development in the site. The condition is the plat will need to be updated with additional documents before being submitted to the city council. And on the special permit, the applicants are looking to have 2 family homes on a common lot with the property being maintained under a condominium association. Therefore, applicant is requesting a special permit to allow multiple 2-family residential structures to be built on a single lot. Since the property is zoned R2 1 2 family residence district and require a special permit.
He's muted.
You can't hear me now?
Oh,
Waiting for John.
Can you hear me now?
what the heck?
No, still can't hear you.
He doesn't know.
I think he does. He's just trying to figure it out.
Oh,
It unmuted for a second and then remuted.
yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Well, apparently we're also having issue with televisions because Ed came in here and had an issue with it. So I'll do this real quick.
Good.
So basically they need the special permit because it's zoned for R2 1 and 2 family residence district. If it was zoned R3 multiple residence district or less restrictive zoning, a special permit would not be required. The applicant has submitted a site plan showing that the proposed development meets all the requirements of an R2 1 and 2 family residence district. Should the homes eventually be split into individual lots, which they would not be required to be split, but are required to show the ability to be split, and they meet all those requirements. Therefore, we recommend approval of the special permit. It would not have a negative impact around the area. No negative impact on traffic conditions. 2 family structures could be split into individual lots. Special permit will create a additional infill development site. And we've received only one phone call about this. And once I explain what they were doing the phone caller was in support of the project.
Any initial questions for staff?
Yeah, I don't know if it's for the developer or for staff, but this is do not with my question. My question is, I don't know how to word my question, but I just wanted to know if people who are applying to be in the condominium, is there any restrictions, or is it just anybody can apply who is able to pay the market cost of being in the condominium? Is there any restrictions on who can live in the condominium or the condominium?
Yeah.
Or anything like that? Is there any special restrictions on people?
And those have been illegal for 30 years or more.
This is Steve Chofsky with CGA. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm with the consulting engineering firm on the project. I'm not part of the ownership group, but I can tell you this is a market-based project. So it's going to be available at market rates to the community.
And that would be to anybody who applies and who fits the ability to be there based on finances and market, right? That's not discriminating against anybody or anything?
Well, my understanding is that the owner and developer is building this, and they're going to be offered just as any other real estate in the community. It's not age restricted or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Are these going to each be sold individually?
The goal with it is each half of the duplex would be sold individually, and there would be a homeowners association that would have common maintenance and things like that.
That's what I was asking.
Okay, yep. I guess if someone wanted to buy two lots and own, live in one half and rent the other half, like sometimes people do, I don't think that at this point there's any restriction on something like that, but the idea and the intent is to sell each individual unit on its own.
Okay, thank you.
This is Flynn, and I just had some questions on, I guess it looks like it's on page 31 of 42 in our packet, and I guess this would be more staff-oriented. It's showing City Council as 6/22/20. Wondering what that means, question one. Question two is on number 3E, it's saying value of area to be dedicated conveyed to the city, $15,000. Just wondered the explanation of that. And then in that same section on 3A, name a plat, I know they had mentioned that it was formerly Shirk Edition. So how does that work? Like it was Shirk Edition, then can someone just come in and say it's now the Gardner Edition? Or how do we formally change names of editions within the city?
This is Schrader with staff. I'll try and tackle as many of those as I can, and I'll start backwards because I'm not going to remember some of them. But the name change, plat is not formally named anything until the final plat is approved by the city council and the plat is recorded. The preliminary plat did have a different name on it, but it wasn't identified at that point in time that there was a conflict with that name. So they then did change that name, and the current proposed name does not have any conflicts, and it wouldn't be officially the name of this subdivision until the subdivision is both approved by the city council and recorded in the office of the Blackhawk County Recorder. Once that's done, then it would not be able to be changed without going through an amendment process. The question on the dedication value, so anytime a plat sets apart any right-of-way that is dedicated to the city, the developer has to designate a value for that, and then the city has to track that as a asset that the city has obtained. I'm trying to recall, Steve can address that, what, I'm assuming Virgin Drive is being dedicated as a public right-of-way as part of this, yeah. And then your other one was on is it the city's address? Or
well, on 4A, it's saying date of preliminary plat approval was P&Z is 6/2/20.
Okay.
And City Council 6/22/20. Is this what we're doing today?
No, this is the final plat. So it's just asking when was the preliminary plat approved. That way, the P&Z approval date and the City Council date is there. Number one, so that it's clear that a preliminary plat has been approved, but number two, just kind of informational purposes, if you're trying to recall, like, hey, did we look at the preliminary plat on this?
Right, got it. Okay, thank you.
This is Lystico. That was a very good question, and I'm glad that you brought that up. So I pulled up the agenda for the June 2nd meeting, and yes, I see and I remember discussing the preliminary plat of the Shirk edition, at which point it must have changed after the fact. But it's really neat to see this process work out.
This is Trost. I want to recognize, not only the commission, but also the planning and zoning department staff and the city council efforts. That this is a very, to me, in my opinion, this is a very smart development project. Taking pieces of property, I know we've been doing it across the community, but finding those areas to develop housing within the community that's going to be attractive to older people possibly, or people who have handicaps, accessibility issues, that they're within the community, in the heart of the community, and have easy access to other amenities within the community. So, this helps. These kind of focused projects obviously help save tax dollars in the end, expanding infrastructure projects further out in the community, those kinds of things. So I do appreciate the thinking behind these kind of developments.
Okay, I have a question now because Steve had his question. This is Dunan again with my question. Is there units available for people with disabilities to be able to look into buying if they wanted to buy a unit in this facility, or in this development?
This is Steve Trosky with CGA Engineers. Again, I know I sound like a broken record here. I'm not part of the ownership group, so I don't want to send anyone down the wrong path, but I know that there's federal housing guidelines that every home builder has to align with.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't tell you structurally inside the units whether it's wheelchair accessible or anything like that. But I know as far as selling the real estate itself, the builder has to comply with federal housing and local guidelines.
Okay, thank you.
Are there other questions for Steve with CGA? And Steve, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk to the commission about or address?
Not at this time, but of course I'm happy to answer any additional questions you may have.
Thank you. We have a motion on
Could handle the special permit first if you would like.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve a special permit for the following reasons. It should not have a negative impact on the surrounding area. The special permit should not have a negative impact on traffic conditions in the area. The two-family structures would be able to be split into individual lots, and the special permit will create an additional infill development site. And this is in regard to the request by Steve Trosky on behalf of CGA Consultants for a special permit to allow multiple two-family residential structures on a single lot located north and east of 603 South Hackett Road.
So, second that, or, I'm sorry, yes, I'm seconding that, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Move on to the final plat then.
Are we gonna have any discussion on this?
Sorry. You already, on the final plat?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to have a motion first. Let's get a motion and then we can have a discussion.
Lystico here. I will motion that we approve the request by Steve Trosky for the final plat of Gardner Edition, a 2-lot residential subdivision in the R2 1 and 2 family residence district located north and east of 603 South Hackett Avenue for the following reasons. The plat should not have a negative impact on the surrounding area. The plat should not have a negative impact on traffic conditions in the area. The plat will create an additional infill development site with the following conditions: that the plat is updated and additional documents are submitted as required by staff before the request is sent to City Council.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Cody, did you have additional questions?
No, I just didn't want a motion out of line.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I thought we had already done this item.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion to approve the final plat?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Next, we have the amendment to the City of Waterloo zoning ordinance from, which includes multiple changes and updates. On pages 32 through 42 of your packet. Does staff want to address this first and kind of give a summary, or?
Sure, this is Schrader with staff. So this is kind of a catch-all amendment. We've gone through some areas that we've just identified as needing a few little tweaks. Probably some of the bigger changes are to the home occupation section, some tweaks in the accessory buildings section, i.e. garages, some minor cleanup, like in the S1 shopping center district. The current title of the district was in there wrong, so it's cleaning that up. A reference to clean up the alcohol sales uses in S1 because they would revert back to the C2 district, but that was not clear in the ordinance. Tweaks in the M1 district for manufacturing, compounding, processing, packaging, treatment, or storage of various products, and then a corresponding one in the M2. If it doesn't fall under what's permitted in the M1, it then goes to the M2, which is the rendering or refining of fats and oils. So kind of cleaning that up and making it consistent with each other. And then the last time we did an expansion of an existing salvage yard, question was raised as to the provision requiring a new salvage yard to be 600 feet from any protected use. The question as to whether or not that applied to the expansion of an existing salvage yard that might already be less than 600 feet. That was never the intent for that to cover, but it was deemed questionable based on the wording of the ordinance. So this amendment would clarify that. The amendment adds under home occupations. It used to be that home occupations were not allowed to be operated out of an accessory structure. Back in several years back, I think it might have been with the 2011 amendment, it was changed to allow home occupations out of accessory structures. And we don't want to take that away, but we've identified some potential problems that can cause, including the property then not having required parking or the required garage space that's otherwise required by the ordinance. So the thought process would be to add, if they're going to have a home occupation out of an accessory building, to have that be permitted by special permit approval only. There's a couple other cleanups in the special permit section. A special permit is also known as a conditional use. The term is used throughout the ordinance in either as a special permit and a conditional use, so that just makes it clear that whichever term you're using, they mean the same thing. And that pretty much covers the main. I can certainly go into additional detail on any specific one if there's questions.
So Eric, I do have a question. This is do not. My question is about the change in title about the shopping district. I think it's in, I have it, let's see, it says chapter 13, is it? Change of title of the chapters to S1 shopping district. Okay, so if you have a error in a title and you realize it should be something different or a misspelling or something, is there a way that we can cover that and say, if there's that kind of typographical or spelling error or a simple error like that where staff can just go in and fix it and not worry about bringing it toward the Planning and Zoning Commission for a spelling error?
Yeah.
Or is this the process that we have to go through just because it's the process?
Yeah, and that can maybe kind of depend on the details of a specific, like if it's just an error in, say, the printed ordinance, if the actual ordinance that went through the public approval process and was passed by the city council says it one way, but then when it was typed into the print version of the ordinance was changed, we can clarify that to make it correct with what the actual adopted ordinance was. If it is just on the index pages that are just kind of references to other sections of the ordinance, yes. Otherwise, if it's wording that's actually, part of the ordinance that was approved by council and we're changing it from what was previously approved, even if what was previously approved was probably a small error, generally speaking, those have to go back through in a process. And oftentimes we'll handle those as like this, just kind of a catch-all where we've got an amendment that's needed and we can add in some simple little cleanup ones at the same time.
I just didn't want to make too much work when it was just, I spelled a word wrong and now we have to go through all this process for a misspell.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Are there other initial questions on anything in particular?
This is Flynn. I was just wondering on the Chapter 5 general regulations, we don't see what's before that. I don't see that we see what's before, it looks like it's page 33 in the bolded. And so what I'm just wondering, it looks like there's a one or what we're talking about here, that no non-resident employees can work from or report to or park at the site of the home occupation. So what is this covering? What's the one and above that?
Sure. The straighter with staff. So yeah, and that definitely was not in any sort of, attempt to hide anything. It's just to condense the ordinance amendment. I was just showing the pages actually being affected, but yeah, So you would all have a copy of the current zoning ordinance, and if, for the general public, it's also online. So yeah, the bolded page 33 is 33 of the packet, but you see the other page where it says 31, that's what's currently page 31 out of the print version of the zoning ordinance. The page ahead of that, page 32, would have where the home occupation section started. So this amendment is covering the home occupation section, and I can just turn to it in the actual ordinance. So in the general regs, it starts out with different sections like non-conforming uses is and B actually are different sections of non-conforming uses. Subsection C is fences and subsection D is home occupations. So within subsection D, home occupations, there is a subsection 1, purpose. So it's just kind of covering what is the purpose of the home occupation regulations, and then a subsection 2, necessary conditions. So we weren't proposing any changes in the purpose section, and I just didn't include it in there to try and save pages of what I provided in there.
Great, because I just wondered what we're approving. No non-resident employee can work from or report to or park at.
Yeah.
So if someone has a business at home, is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yep. And the page ahead there in the packet, page 32 of the packet, is what gives the overview of the amendment, and it notes the first changes are to section 10-5-1D, the home occupation section, and then changing the requirements for the necessary conditions to a home occupation. So, yeah, ahead of that is just the purpose section, but we weren't doing any changes in there. So, but yeah, I can see it makes it a little clear. It's just like it's kind of jumping right in, and it's not real clear where in the ordinance you are. So, I can definitely
correct.
add
Thank you.
Just for clarification purposes. The next one probably does that too. The next page of the packet is page 34, which is page 33 out of the zoning ordinance. So page 32 is missing because we're not making any changes on page 32. But on page 32 is where subsection E, accessory structures, begins. And then within subsection E, the first subsection of that is 1, residential accessory structures, and it's within that there's a change. I can add those in just to make it a little more
just
clear.
For clarification, I think it makes it easier.
Yep, I can do that.
Are there any other questions? Eric, procedurally, are we okay to proceed with an amendment on all of the proposed amendments, or do we need to go section by section?
Procedurally, you would be okay. There's nothing requiring any sort of review section by section. The proposed ordinance is in front of you and has been made available to the public. So, yeah, if there's no further questions on it, you can certainly entertain a motion on the amendment.
Well, let me just double check. Is there anyone else on the call that is present to speak on this agenda item? Okay. We have a motion.
I make a motion to approve the items for the changes in the city of Waterloo zoning ordinance. I make a motion to approve all the changes as presented in the packet. This is do not to make that motion.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it, Surfing.
Hey, is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is election of the chairperson and vice chairperson for the term ending at December 31st, 2021. Do we have any nominations?
This is Flynn, and I just wondered if you could tell us the status of all the current commissioners, like when their terms end, or if anyone's going off, or the status of current commissioners.
Make sure I'm not muted. This is Schrader with staff. I've got that information on the call sheet, which I have here. Look down through it. Holdeman is in 2022, so not next year. Surfling and Trost are in September of 2021, so it is next year, but towards the end. And I'm not sure if they're in their first term or second term, so I'm not positive whether or not they would be eligible for reappointment. I would have to check with the mayor's office on that. Otherwise, the rest are in 2023.
Eric, I think there's a correction on mine because I didn't get approved until September of 18.
Yep.
I was in Colorado before, so it should go to 22, not 21.
I have it showing as September of 18, but I think I'd have to verify that, but I think they're considered 3-year terms.
Oh, I thought they were 4-year terms. Excuse me.
But even if I'm correct in remembering that there's 3-year terms, September of 18 was when you were first appointed, so then you should be eligible to be appointed to a second term. And I think that's the same for Steve.
Okay, and Eric, this is Dunot, and I wanted to point out that in my position on the Waterloo Commission for Human Rights, my position ends, or my term ends on the Waterloo Commission for Human Rights at the end of December in 2021. So if I'm still the representative person from the Waterloo Commission for Human Rights, that term would end at the end of December in 2021.
So in case anyone was not remembering the code of ordinances that provides for the planning commission and provides for the appointment of a chair, does provide for the chair position to come from the at-large, so it excludes the positions that are appointed from human rights, community development, or the school board, although those individuals would be eligible to be a vice chair.
Well, Virginia, I think you've done a great.
I'm sorry.
So this is Virginia. I think you've done a great job leading us in our meetings and following procedure properly. I do appreciate that. I think you've done very, very well for us. Thank you. So the next question. The next question is would you entertain another term as chair?
I would, yep.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to nominate Virginia as chair.
Second.
And I'll second that.
Were there any other nominations? Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I won't hold it against you.
You'll mute us, Virginia. You'll mute us. You will.
All right, motion carried. Thank you. I enjoy working with you all, and the staff department makes it easy to do the job, I think, with their support. Any nominations for vice chairperson? So like Eric said, this can be for appointed commissioners. So those can come from the other commissions too. I think Eric was our vice chairperson last year or this year.
Oh, that was me.
Oh, Craig was this year.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and so this is do not. I would run for vice chair as well again because I was the vice chair in 2018, and I'd like to see if I could be the vice chair again.
This is Flynn, and the only thing that I have is if we do go with, like the commission members that are appointed, not at large, due to, like, for instance, my role in the school board and Eric's, if he would not be appointed back to his commission in December, then would that be a conflict?
That was December 2021, I think, when it comes up. So the next year would be okay?
Yeah, I would. I think I would be reappointed to my commission for one thing. And yes, that term would end on the Waterloo Commission for Human Rights at the end of December of 2021. The actual term for my term ends on January 1, 2022. So, by the time that meeting would come up in January of 2022, I would be off the other commission. So, yeah.
And then just checking, Craig, did you want to throw your name in the hat for the vice chair or not?
I will, or I was going to nominate Steve Trost if you'll take it.
Oh. Well, I'll nominate Craig Holdeman. This is Trish Surfling.
Okay. And then we have Steve as well. Steve, are you okay with that?
I'm okay with it, but I'll defer to Craig also. So.
No, I don't. Doesn't matter to me.
I appreciate the thought, but.
Any other nominations?
Any volunteers?
Eric volunteered.
Okay. Well,
So I think we had 3 nominations, correct? Do not, Holdeman, and Trost?
yes. So we do a roll call.
Okay, Holdeman?
Me. Sorry.
Hey, that's quite all right. Wilbur?
Craig.
Flynn?
Holdeman.
Do not.
Do not.
Trost?
Trost.
Nice. Jackson?
Make it interesting, Trost.
Oh,
You're muted.
I think
she doesn't look like she's muted.
Can't hear you, Sylvia.
We couldn't hear you. Oh, we might have to come back.
Doesn't she usually call in?
We can sort of hear you now.
Oh.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Trost, to make
Trost?
it interesting.
Okay. Surfling?
Craig Holdeman.
Coburg?
Trost.
And Lysticott?
Holdeman.
Did I get everyone? I think so, right? Nobody got missed?
I think you got everyone.
Okay, I show with 5 votes, Holdeman getting the most votes.
When do I give my concession speech?
Right now.
Yeah. We don't want to go into that, Steve.
What's
I
that?
was going to say, do you want to wait till the Electoral College meeting?
That's December 14th.
Right.
Oh.
I gotta say, I'm proud of us having an election with so many qualified candidates. Everyone does an awesome job on this commission.
And Eric, can we put in a good word with the Human Rights Commission so that we keep you with us as well?
Yes, I mean, last term, I got appointed or reappointed late just because the Human Rights Commission sent in their letter late. So we need that to be on time for my appointment letter to be sent over. But I should get reappointed, I think, at least to my position on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did I miss anything with that, Eric?
I don't believe so. That should be good.
Okay. Next item on the agenda then is to discuss briefly moving our meetings to the second Tuesday of each month. Did everybody get the email about that today and have a chance to think about that, look at their calendars and other commitments?
Yeah.
Yeah, I responded. I think several of us responded back to John by email.
Eric, did you want me to kind of read why that was coming up or add anything additional, or do you want to add anything right now?
Yeah, I could just, say we're looking at it. The city council is considering going to 2 council meetings a month. That has not been decided on, but we were just starting to look ahead if that is decided on, how things would flow from the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to the City Council meeting. And if they do adopt that, it might be better from that flow standpoint if we would move P&Z from the first Tuesday of the month to the second Tuesday of the month. There's also a added benefit of the first Tuesday of the month occasionally runs into a conflict with a holiday, or where the holiday is on a Monday and the city council meeting moves to a Tuesday and bumps the council meeting. That will almost never happen on the second Tuesday of the month. I think Veterans Day is the only one that has the potential to hit on the second Tuesday of the month, and so that's once every 7 years, depending on what day of the week it lands on. Other than that, I think that's it. Obviously, it has to work for the council members, though, so we're not asking, for a final decision now because the council hasn't made a final decision on council meetings yet, but we're just trying to look forward because they're talking about if they do act on it, it probably would be already for January council meetings. I don't know that at this point if we would change the January P&Z meeting or not, but...
And to add on to you, Eric, I emailed John back and I said, we send things on to the city council, but we also send things to the Board of Adjustment, and it works with that as well, correct?
Yes, it does. Currently, P&Z meets first Tuesday, Board of Adjustment meets fourth Tuesday, so that's 3 weeks in between. If we'd change to the second Tuesday, that lowers that down to 2 weeks, but that still works fine for getting things between P&Z and Board of Adjustment, and may actually help applicants out because it's less time that they have to sit and wait.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay.
This is Flynn, and we have school board meetings on the second and fourth Mondays, and that starts at 5:00 on Mondays. And so I also have another commitment on school board on Tuesday afternoons, so once a month. So it may be a conflict for me.
Okay, good to know.
Would it be a conflict every month?
I would have to check the calendars for the year. We have ours set out, so I can check because I have a subcommittee that I'm on that meets on Tuesdays. So, and then I have to get my real job in there somewhere. So,
okay, just check and get back to us.
Yeah.
This is Cody. being appointed from the Community Development Board, our commission or our board meets on the third Tuesday, so I see no issue with conflict with that board.
And that was Virginia questioned if there were any other boards or commissions that it might conflict with. And the only other standing second Tuesday of the month board or commission meeting is Leisure Services, but they're at 7:30 a.m. So a 4 p.m. that day meeting shouldn't conflict at all.
I think if you're on the leisure board, you really have to be committed to be on that board. 7:30 a.m. I'm not that committed.
That's a leisurely time.
So
Eric,
right now,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just asking, is the city council going to make the decision in December about going to 2 meetings?
That was the indication. I think this upcoming Monday, December 7th, they are having another work session on it. They've had a few work sessions in the past, so I don't think there will be any decision on December 7th, but I think they are looking for that decision to be shortly thereafter that, in December.
Shall we just go ahead and set our next meeting on the 12th?
I think we certainly could, I guess, even regardless of what the city council would do. It doesn't really hurt.
Why don't we keep it on, I'm just proposing this, keep it on the 5th, and then if they do go forward, we can change it, but also then if they don't for some reason go forward with it, then we keep it the first Tuesday so that we know for sure we can keep Sue.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe we should hold off on deciding that for at least a little bit, since we haven't heard from everyone yet if the second Tuesday works.
Well, and if they do it in January, you'll run into Martin Luther King on that third Monday, so they'd have a Tuesday meeting.
Yeah, so the stated protocol for any time that there's a holiday on Monday that is going to be a council meeting is that the council meeting moves to Tuesday. There have been instances where they'll just cancel the council meeting altogether, but the stated is that it would move from Monday to Tuesday. So I would expect that the council meeting on that week would be January 19th, whether they have 2 meetings that month or 4 meetings that month.
Eric, this is Jamie. I did talk with Kelly and the mayor yesterday morning, and that was brought up on that, and Kelly did say that, yes, the council meeting would go to the 19th.
Yeah. So I guess the only thing there is we might have to communicate with community development, because on the instance where they're on the third Tuesday and get bumped by a council meeting moving from Monday to Tuesday, I think maybe in the past they've then moved their meeting up a week to the second Tuesday.
Yeah, I remember us doing that, I believe.
So that might be all the more reason that January stays on the 5th, and that conflict won't happen all that often, but it could happen.
Well, and even if we do have it on the 5th, it wouldn't be the end of the world for us for 1 month, I don't believe. I don't know, would staff be kind of blindsided with time to get work prepared for our meeting?
John in our office has noted that because of the coming holidays and the work schedule, that the P&Z meeting on January 5th is going to potentially be a scramble. The turn-in deadline will be December 15th. I think it's workable either way.
I'd definitely rather do everything we can to make sure staff have ample time to get stuff done.
Okay. Well, do you want to,
Yep. Why don't I would say we don't need to do anything further now. If there's any additional input, feel free to email John or myself, and then I'm also gonna check if community development is moving their meeting to the 12th.
Okay.
Any other questions or thoughts on that? Okay. Thank you for all the explanation and thoughts that's gone into that. We appreciate that, and we'll get it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other discussion items?
Wish everybody has a good Christmas
Merry Christmas, everybody.
and New Year.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of
I'll
2020.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Thank you. Bye.
Well, Craig was quick
Any
on the
opposed?
click there.
All right. I think motion carried. We're good. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Happy holidays. Happy New Year.